Okay, here's quiz number 2. We're going to work on 45, 45, 90 and 30, 60, 90 triangles here. So let's get into the number 1 right here. We see here that both legs are the same. This is the hypotenuse. So this is a 45, 45, 90. And if you recall, the rules for 45, 45, 90 are this. So there's your triangle, here's your 90. The legs are the same, but then all you gotta do is take the leg times radical 2 to get the hypotenuse. That's all you have to do. Okay, and then for a 30, 60, 90, like we're gonna see here in number 2, okay, they want you to figure out the value of x and y. Okay, well now x is going to be the short side because he's across from the 30-degree angle. Right there, that's a 30. Okay, so now let's remember our rules of 30, 60, 90s. Here's the right angle. So this is the short side because he's across from the 30. This is the long side because it's across from the 60. To get the long side, you just take the short side times radical 3. To get the hypotenuse, you just take the short leg and multiply it by 2. Now, if they give you one or the other, you may just have to divide by radical 3 or divide by 2 in order to get the short leg, okay, which is kind of the example right here in number 2. We had to take this and multiply it by radical 3 to get the long leg, so it's the opposite of multiplying by radical 3. Once you get this, multiply it by 2, that'll give you your y. Okay, number 3, again, we are dealing with a 45, 45, 90, and now here they give you the hypotenuse. You need to find the leg. So remember, it was leg times radical 2 to get this guy. So we just need to take 12 and divide it by radical 2. Now you're going to get a decimal. So remember, you're not allowed to keep a radical in the denominator, so you got to multiply top and bottom by radical 2. I'll let you finish from there, okay? If you need some help, let me know. Question 4, we're going to round this to the nearest tenth, okay? So what are we dealing with here? Here's our angle, okay? Then I like to label sides. Opposite this angle, this is the opposite side, which makes him the adjacent. This would be the hypotenuse. We don't know anything about this guy, so we want to use tangent because tangent is opposite over adjacent. So you need to go tangent of 39, right? Equals 14 opposite over x. And you need to solve for x. Remember, this is divided by x, so you need to multiply both sides by x first, and then you're going to divide by tangent of 39. Okay, number 5. Again, we're going to use angle 52. I'm going to label my sides. There's the opposite, which we know nothing about. This is the adjacent. This is the hypotenuse, which means we need to use cosine of 52 equals the adjacent x over the hypotenuse. And you just need to finish solving for x. Question 6. There's your angle, 61. The opposite, here's the adjacent. See, here's the 90 degrees right here. So that means this guy over here is your hypotenuse. So now we need to use sine because sine deals with the opposite over the hypotenuse. So we want to go sine of 61 equals x over 17 and solve for x. Okay, number 7, we need to find all these. We got 3 different answers we need to find. The first one is length AB. So we're going to use first Pythagorean theorem. So you need to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This would be the C, here's your A, here's your B. Okay? So that's for that. Now, if you want to find angle A, okay, So that means this would be the opposite. This would be your adjacent. All right, which means we need to use tangent, and you got to use the inverse of tangent. Equal times 9/13. And that'll give you how many degrees angle A is. And then for angle B, okay, this now is the opposite over this would now be the adjacent. So again, you're going to use the inverse of tangent, but now it's just going to be flip-flopped. And that'll tell you again how many degrees. Round it to 1 decimal place, the tenths. Number 8, same thing. The only difference here is we're going to use Pythagorean theorem, but this would be the C over here. This could be A, this could be B. So we'll call this X. You don't know what he is. Okay. And then to figure out how many degrees D and F are, so let's label. I'm going to erase these real, whoops. I'm going to try to erase it. There we go. I'm going to erase these so we can see our trig functions a little bit better. So we're going to do D. So this would be the opposite, which we know nothing about the opposite side. This would be the adjacent. This would be your hypotenuse. So I have to use cosine. Remember, you're going to use the inverse. And adjacent over 9/17. And then F, which is going to make this the opposite, and our hypotenuse is going to stay the same. So now we're going to use the inverse of sine equals 9/17. And that'll give you how many degrees for angle F. And number 9, same thing. Okay, so, but first, notice that we started with Pythagorean theorem a couple times, but we can't really do that yet because all they give us is one side and this angle. So we got to use some trig right out of the gate. So we're going to use, here's 33, makes this the opposite, this the adjacent. We don't know squat about the hypotenuse, so we got to use tangent. Okay, we're going to figure out GH right here. So we're going to say the inverse of tangent. Or I'm sorry, not the inverse, my bad. Just tangent of 33 equals the opposite, which would be x, we don't know, over 11. And solve for x. Okay, solve for x. To find GJ, well, GJ is the hypotenuse. Okay, now, once you've figured out this guy here, GH, you're going to figure out how long he is. Now use the Pythagorean theorem to find this one. Okay, this would be side C. This could be your A, this could be your B. Okay, so use that answer you got for the first one to find that GH right here. When you got the answer for X, he's now your A. You already got 11. Figure out your C. Lastly, to figure out angle G, to figure out an angle, okay, we need to look and realize, okay, this is going to be the opposite. This is the adjacent now. This is still the hypotenuse. So we're going to take the inverse of tangent, okay, and it's going to be 11 over whatever you got for this answer up here. That's what you're going to put in there and solve for G. And that's the end of this quiz. If you have questions, make sure you ask. Good luck.